Okay. And thank you, and welcome to it is a special meeting, although we plan it this way. It's a week early from normal, the Wednesday, September 7th, 2022 Orange Board of Selectmen meeting. In the event of an emergency, on my right, the audience's left, is the staircase that leads up to the rear parking lot of the town hall. If for some reason you couldn't go that way, you could go straight down the hall, which would lead you up a set of short stairs out the back door to the firehouse, or you could go up the stairway behind the wall with the clock on it, through the double doors, and that will send you out to in front of the town hall in the event of an emergency. With that said, please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start on my right tonight with the hockey coach.
Good evening, PJ Shanley.
Good evening, Judy Williams.
Ann Denny, Secretary to the Board.
Ralph Oakenquist, good evening.
Good evening, John Carangelo. Good evening, Mitch Goldblatt.
Thank you. Tonight we have a couple special happenings during public participation. And the first one, I'd like to call up Sue Yamaguchi, and I don't know, is Will coming up, or you're coming by yourself, or? Will Rudell is her assistant tonight, and she has a special presentation to the town.
So for those of you, I'm Sue.
Come on up here. We want this recorded.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Sue Yamaguchi, and I want to thank the committee, the Bicentennial Committee, so much for allowing me to be able to tap into my inner creativity here. I had approached Ann and Mitch and Pat about doing a quilt for the Bicentennial, and thought that it would be something nice to be able to hang in the town hall. So for those of you that don't know, I spend mucho hours making blankets for children that are abandoned and abused. I have a blanket fairy mission associated with the Orange Congregational Church. So when I get the opportunity to be able to do something more creative, I go for it. So here it is. I have to show you the back first, because I was really...
I'm looking at that.
Yeah, I was so excited about this. Everybody said to me, "Where'd you buy it?" And I'm going, I don't know. I was in a store, and it's orange background material with the state of Connecticut all over it. I have no idea where I got it, but I probably won't get any more because I don't know where to find it.
It was somewhere in one of your bins.
There you go. So anyhow, I'd like to present this. Yep.
Yeah.
For the Orange Bicentennial.
That's beautiful.
Now, there was discussion, I think, originally about what we were going to do with the quilt. And Patrick and I kind of like scoped out. We've got a couple of spots in mind where we could hang this one. When you make the quilt, the finishing touch is the top stitching. And I have to be honest, I'm not a top stitcher. I'm a quilter, but not a top stitcher. So I have to pay somebody professionally to do the top stitching for me. So when I went to go pick it up, the woman is in Wallingford, and she said to me, "Are you interested in selling this quilt?" And I'm going, No. I said, "It's not mine. It belongs to the Bicentennial Committee in Orange." And she goes, "If they decide to sell it, will you let me know?" I said, "Sure." And then I had showed it to Pam Rudell, Will's mom, just because she's my critic and she likes to give me lots of good feedback on things that I do.
Mine too.
And she said, do you think they'll sell it?" And I'm going, "I don't know. Do you want to buy it?" And she goes, "I'd buy it." And I'm going, "Yeah, okay." And then there was a third person. There's only 3 people that saw it before you guys. and somebody else had made the offer to buy. I'll give you $1,500. I'm going. It
What?
doesn't
Mitch,
belong
where
to
did
me.
you come up with all that money?
So, all right, so here's a solution. I had told Ann, I'm sorry I couldn't bring it tonight. I have a smaller version that's almost done. So Ann and I talked about raffling. I guess you're going to have a booth at the country fair, an actual bicentennial booth. The small quilt, which will be a smaller version, it already has a T-shirt in the center, the exact same coloring, but just a smaller version. So this will actually be in the bicentennial booth, and you can raffle it to your heart's content.
So it will be done for the fair? Yep.
Absolutely,
The other one?
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
You'll have it by the middle of the week,
Oh.
next week. Yeah, now I did ask when Ann and I spoke about it, if there's any way the money from the raffle could stay in Orange. I'd love to see it go to maybe the food bank. I've donated blankets to the food bank, because of the kids. I know the fuel bank is in desperate need. And if you guys run out of options, Blanket Fairy could always use the help. So anyhow, this is presented to you. The good news is that I'm presenting it to you. The bad news is I'm going to take it home. It has been registered to be shown. It'll hang in the exhibit hall, and it's going into the state competition. So we'll wait and see how it
Good.
goes. Well, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, I'm not worried. But anyhow, I wanted to thank again the committee, and if you'll please keep in mind some places in Orange that we can donate the proceeds from the smaller. If I've already got 3 people that want to buy this one, God only knows what they're going to want to do with the smaller one. But it'll be the exact same design, same color. I have to tell you that when I first came by the town hall and saw the cows outside, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to fit perfectly with the color scheme. So anyhow, here you go. It's all done, and your small one should be ready by Wednesday.
What's the small one, like a baby crib quilt size?
This
or-
one is 63 by 63.
I just want to know how Lucy's going to like her quilt.
The other one's going to measure 41 by 41.
Oh, that's perfect.
Listen here.
Thank
So
you.
anyhow, here you go.
Thank you.
You're very
We'll look
welcome.
forward to seeing it in 2 weeks,
Yeah,
the fair.
Fair.
yeah, it'll be there.
Awesome. Good job, Will.
So,
Wow.
Jim?
Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions?
Well, I'm just thinking, instead of a raffle, should we do a silent auction on it if you have people that really have an interest at the fair? Maybe. We can think about it.
Well, you have the small.
Well, if you were going to do a raffle, I'll tell you, the tickets probably got to be $10 each.
Right, but the
At
raffle
least.
means we get, well, we can talk about it, but I think maybe even a silent auction, just to have people come by, if they like it, they'll sign up, the next person comes by, likes it better, they'll come back, and maybe we'll get a good number for it. And I think it should,
Well, you
I
know-
agree it should stay in orange, and let's let Jim decide
I
where.
mean, we'll talk about it. I mean, we go back and forth. But if you did a raffle, what you could do is sell tickets from the fair to the holiday festival.
It's true.
Draw it at the holiday festival. And if you do it that way, you could sell a significant amount of tickets
Okay.
beforehand, is what
I
I'm
never would
thinking.
have thought to do that, but I couldn't even get it out of Top Sister's hands, and she's going, "Can I buy it?" And I'm going, "No." I mean, it just seemed kind of odd. So when I talked to Ann about it, I am able to make a smaller version, and I thought having the smaller version and having it hung up, it's easy to transport. And my suggestion would be to just sell the tickets for $1 a piece. You've got several people that may think that $10 is a little too high.
Well, they might.
You might be able 3 for $5. I mean, there's a way to make it work where you can really bring in just as much money as if you tried to sell a ticket. People walking by and thinking $10, I could buy apple
Well,
crisp for
that's true.
$10. So,
She knows you.
but anyhow,
We'll figure something out by the fair, how's that?
any questions or
No,
anything?
thank you. It's
You're very
beautiful.
welcome. Thank you.
To hear about it and now see it, it's really, that's incredible. Beautiful. That's nice. And then the second special, forget about it. At 20, forget about it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, Susan, I don't know if you remember me, I'm with the Orange Lions, and we made a donation to your organization. You guys did some great work.
Thank you so much.
George, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, George.
I'm all set though.
You're all set.
I got a date.
Not yet, George, not yet. The next one is Patrick O'Sullivan has a presentation to the town also.
Does it involve chocolate?
That's upstairs. Patrick came to the office and informed me that he had something for tonight's presentation also.
So trivia question. How many states made up the United States on May 28th, 1822?
24.
23. Back in January, the bicentennial.
Darn it, I wish I had.
The 24 was in November of 1822.
I was confusing.
Yeah. But on May 28th, there were 23 states. And back in January, the Bicentennial Committee looked up and found a place that does U.S. flags. And I've got a dated flag for 1822. It's got 23 stars on it. Now, just to show you about the supply chain, it's made in the United States. We ordered this in January. We got it 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Just came.
It's not bad.
And what's also interesting is the company that makes this they've been in business since 1847. And their most unique flag is located on the surface of the moon in 1969.
Yep.
So I wanted to present this to the Board of Selectmen, to the town of Orange, and, it can hang anywhere. It's
That's cool.
That's awesome.
for you.
Oh, thank you.
23
Nice,
stars.
Nice. Oh, that was,
It might look nice at the gazebo during the country fair each year, as a thought.
That's a thought, they could hang it.
Yep,
yeah.
that's it. Let me fold it up and I'll give it back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very.
Okay. Is there anybody else for public participation? Not you, George, not yet. Calm down.
George, you're new business number 2.
Tom Paisano, 523 Fairway Road, Orange, Connecticut. Just a quick update. I'm trying to work with Park and Rec Department. They didn't have a quorum the last couple of months, but our idea is to continue work at Fred Wolf Park, what we're going to call Phase 6. And I guess they're going to need some direction. I'll have them come to you. I know there's a lease on that cornfield coming up, and they're going to need to be working with that, but we want to proceed with some fields there. Much needed from traffic reasons and others, so appreciate it. I know this board will have a lot of input into the public land, but Park and Rec will need some direction, okay? Appreciate it. I'll be here if you have questions.
I do.
Yes.
Tom, I'm just wondering, who do you represent?
Right this moment, Orange Soccer Association?
So, do you have a committee that is asking you to come and speak each month, or?
Judy, you're my.
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Chris. I'm asking you, who do you represent?
Yeah, there's about 4 or 5 of us, Bill Hoffman, myself, Janet, we're all Orange Soccer Association volunteers.
Okay.
And I've been the co-president all these years, so I'm the one that leads the charge to the Park and Rec.
So you have meetings and everybody decides that this is the direction that you
Yes.
want the whole soccer thing to go?
Yes, a lot of demand. I just get a lot of calls, but
Okay. And I just was wondering, I know this has been about a year or so that we've been doing this. And, so a couple times you'll say something at a meeting and then I'll go follow it up and I'll check with some of the town employees or some of the independent contractors. And I'm finding discrepancies, what you say and what they say. So I'm just curious on how accurate sometimes when you stand up and share information at our meetings.
feel free to ask questions. I keep asking people to ask questions. The devil's in the detail, and that's what we need. All the, design of Fred Wolf and everything needs to be brought, through Park and Rec, and they need to be talking to you guys directly, so.
Right, well, sometimes I do go to the Park and Rec,
Okay.
and you've said this, and I find out that it's not
No,
true.
let's go to both meetings and we'll hash it out, I guess. I go to all the meetings, so.
Correct. But I think, make sure that when you're coming to report to us, that it is an accurate report, so to speak.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, that would help us a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm not sure if it's to Tom or to Jim. You mentioned the cornfield that we lease, and there's been some discrepancy that I hope we get clarified before that lease comes up, whether that cornfield that we lease actually attaches from Meeting House Lane to Fred Wolf Park. There's been some discrepancy as to whether it does or it does not.
It does not.
It does not.
No, it's
Okay.
off of Little Peck Road.
Okay.
Yeah, the first big property there was Russ Handel Clark's land years ago, and
Okay.
it had been farmed directly through real estate people.
So just so I understand and the rest of the board understands, so if we were to not have the farming continue,
All right.
we still couldn't get from Meeting House directly to Fred Wolf Park?
No, you have to use Peck Lane.
Okay.
Yeah. That access, as I made perfectly clear, through all the previous selectmen, and there's no limited access. There's
Okay.
tractors, trailers that come in and out of there all the time. So I've completely exhausted that rumor that we cannot enter through Little Peck Road. And
Okay.
Definitely happening today. The neighbors that have contacted me recently would rather have children laughing than crow guns going off all night long, all day long, not night, during the day, for what it's worth.
And just a quick question, Tom. So I know you just represented to Judy that, you've met with the Orange Park and Rec, but, in the last year, have you met with our first selectman, Jim Zioli, to talk about the concerns that you've heard from your association?
No, here, just at these
Okay,
meetings.
so you've never made an appointment with our first selectman to
No.
have these conversations, so you've chosen to have this in our presence so that people are aware of these concerns that you're representing to us?
That's correct.
Okay, because to be candid with you,
Go ahead.
I've been on the board a long time. Outside of yourself, I haven't heard one
Okay.
concern. So I'm glad that you're representing your association in the capacity that you are. I am concerned that there are discrepancies. And so I want to make this crystal clear. If you have an issue with something that the town is doing and you want to explore those issues, I would first suggest making an appointment with the first selectman, or better yet, send an email of your concerns, put it in writing, share it with the Orange Park and Rec, our first selectman, and us,
Yep.
okay? This way, you've memorialized it in writing. So there's no issue, because we know what exactly your association is saying, okay? Because you have a large association. You have quite a bit of money in that association. And I want to make sure that association's aware of what you're representing. And I also want to make sure the town of Orange understands what you're representing.
Absolutely.
Because you've raised issues that this board, and I'm not going to go back to it too much or paraphrase, but in essence, we're not doing our job to protect the children in this town.
No, that was a fence issue, but we took care of that. Thank you.
Okay, so you've backtracked from that, but I haven't forgotten that comment.
Yep.
Because I had kids in this district
Yep.
who went to these schools, who
Yeah.
participated on these fields. So I want to know exactly what your issues are, okay? And to be honest with you, if you email us, put it in writing,
Yep.
it'd save you the trouble of coming here. Not that I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming here voicing your concern every month. But every month, it's a little different concern. So put it in writing, share it with us, and let's
do.
have an actual conversation about this
Absolutely.
versus bits and pieces.
Yeah, no bits and pieces, just a plan, long-term plan.
Okay, well, I
Yeah,
appreciate
We've
that.
taken care of everything
All right.
else. And I
Thank you.
appreciate the help, and we'll sit down. I have no problem. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you, Board. Just to clarify something also, 2 months ago when Mr. Pisano spoke, he made the outright statement that he was working with Park and Rec to develop more fields at Wolf Park. So the very next day, I called Dan Lynch just to find out if this was the case or not. I think we should know this if this statement was made. And Dan Lynch said, absolutely not. They're not working in any way, shape, or form with Tom Pisano or OSA for more fields. And I said, well, let's check. So Jim O'Connor was in, who's chairman of Park and Recreation, to in the building for business. And so I asked Ian when he comes back by, because you can generally hear him when he's around, and he came in. So I asked him if he had been in any discussions about development of more fields or anything for Park and Rec through OSA or Mr. Pisano. And his response was absolutely not. He says, we have more than enough fields at this time. We are not developing any more fields. The cost to develop the fields and maintain the fields is prohibitive, and they're not needed. So that was both the director of Park and Rec and the chairman of the Park and Rec Commission after our that meeting a couple months ago. I think that was a June meeting, just so you know. So I did follow up on it also, just to find out if there was something we did not know.
And this is precisely my point. These communications, although we appreciate everybody that comes to participate and comments during public participation, but something's amiss here. And in order to make sure that this board isn't missing anything, if people have an issue with what's going on there at Fred Wolf Park, I suggest putting it in writing and sharing it with the boards that are empowered to protect and serve our residencies, our the people that are here that we serve. Otherwise, we're going to get bits and pieces, and I'm not saying these are bad comments or good comments. Quite candidly, I don't know what comments they are because no one else is complaining. But let's put this in writing, make sure we review it, and make sure everybody's on board that we're not missing anything.
I think we've been getting into this he said, she said type of stuff, and I think that's where a lot of it is starting to break down as far as what direction everything is going in. So I think pulling it all together at this point would be very helpful.
Thank you. And there is no long-term plan of Fred Wolf Park because that was tossed by the Park and Rec Commission after they found several things with it that could not work or would not work. And we've shown that as we've moved along with developing the second driveway and curbing that was installed, which came out terrific a week or 2 weeks ago, and the field improvements and fencing and direction and driveways are coming along. And also, there is no long-range plan that has a Phase 6 to it. That's non-existent at this point in time, but it is coming along nicely down there, and OSA has more than enough fields for what they need. So with that said, other announcements? Is anybody at the Mitchell?
A couple things. For those who haven't noticed, our bicentennial clock has arrived, has been installed. Our plaque is still on the way, and that should be hopefully done and installed by our next meeting, where I hope we can possibly, Jim and I talk about formally dedicate that maybe at our or before our next meeting in October. So that's, but I've heard many very positive remarks and comments, and I think it's a piece that will be remembered and will be here for many years beyond us to commemorate the bicentennial. So, okay, speak for myself. That clock better be here beyond us. And I thank the board for supporting it, and I think it's a great piece of history now as a piece of our town. So thank you for the board.
Correct.
October 8th is coming up quickly. It's before our next meeting, so I want to announce it's the shredding day once again. High Plains Community Center. It's Saturday, October 8th from 9 to noon. We'll be collecting everyone's documents, medical records, whatever you want to have shredded. Obviously, it should be things that should be shredded, not things that are just regular recycled. Joe Johnston from Affordable Solutions will be there once again on site to shred things on site. We're sponsored by the Orange Rotary Club. People will be asked for a donation to the Rotary Club. It's not mandatory, but we appreciate any donations that are given there towards their scholarship fund. We'll also be collecting mattresses and box springs. Our mattress, Bye Mattress will be there as well, as they have been for many times. People can bring mattresses and box springs during the same time period, 9 to noon. Or if you want your box spring or mattress picked up, you can call Ken Lenz at the Lions Club, 203-795-3906. That's 203-795-3906 to arrange a pickup for a $10 contribution to the Lions Club, who have also partnered with us on this big day. And the third aspect of partnering with us is with the Orange Community Women. And they will be at the Pavilion collecting clothing, any kind of textiles, toys, games, housewares, household items, anything you've got that's small enough. If it's small enough and heavy enough, put it in a box. If it's light enough, put it in a bag. They're collecting that for their fundraiser and also helping us recycle things out of our homes. So a big fall cleanup on October 8th, and I welcome everyone. Hope to see everyone there in one form or another, and appreciate everyone's participation and assistance in this endeavor. Yes. You know, Ralph, we had a limit the last couple of times. We were saying 6 boxes. Last couple of times we got a lot of, we got almost 10,000 pounds, but not as much as we got before. So we're just asking people to make sure it's household. You know, we don't want to see, an entire medical office come down there. It's supposed to be for residences. So if a resident comes down, if it's more than 6, I'm sure we'll take it. If it's a whole big truck, we may have you go around again. But we're looking, hopefully we're looking for residential recycling of shredding. This is a service to our citizens, and businesses know that they usually pay for shredding. But if it's a small thing, we'll take it. Thank you.
Any others? Okay, I got a few here. Of course, in 2 weeks, we already mentioned it a little bit, but in 2 weeks is the Orange Country Fair. There still is time to get entries in. You can enter online. The fair is the 17th and 18th of September. Entries come in on Friday the 16th. It's become one of our biggest events in town. It's 40 some odd years old, and it's headed towards 50. So it's very exciting. This is the fair's part of the bicentennial. If we filled it with something that shows, Ann has one upstairs that's filled, but it's a milk bottle, as they've sold commemorative milk bottles at the fair. It has the Orange Bicentennial Summer of Celebration logo on it. They're very nice, and Jerry Butcher's Table will be selling those at the fair. Pass that down to Mitch. He needs that.
Yeah, and Jim, the Bicentennial Committee, if I can cut you off for 1 second, the Bicentennial Committee will be in the Civic booth selling what's left of the Bicentennial commemorative items, and we hope everyone comes out for that as well.
Very good. There is Farmers Market tomorrow, September 8th. There will not be one the 15th. It is because the pavilion building will be all set up for the fair. So you just made him skip a beat over there. I want to say thank you to Paul and Stephen Borelli from Albright Electric for donating all their services. They're the electric company that made the new clock tick, sort of. They hum. That was a very important part of it, and it took a little bit more to get to it than we had anticipated. So thank you to Albright Electric and Paul and Stephen Borelli for their kind help in that manner. I think their sister helped with it, too. Starting this month, the OVNA will be conducting both COVID vaccine clinics and their flu clinics. For more information, contact the Orange Visiting Nurse Association at 203-891-4755. 152. But they will be conducting their yearly flu clinics and now also COVID vaccine clinics. Let's see. October 1st at 4 p.m. at High Plains Community Center, there is a kickball game. And this kickball game is going to be between the Orange Democrats and the Orange Republicans. All proceeds will benefit the Orange Community Assistance Fund Fuel Bank. Contact Polly Demersian or Dominic Lombardi. Please bring a non-perishable food item for the Orange Food Bank also. But this is on October 1st at 4 p.m. at High Plains Community Center. It's political parties, but it's will be quite a fun event. So please consider coming, and it makes a donation to the fuel bank and bring a non-perishable item for our food pantry also. Thank you so much.
Jim, you got the price of admission there? $10.
It's $20 for participants, $10 for spectators. Also, to get into the Orange Country Fair, it's $10 admission to the Orange Country Fair. 15 and under is free. Town offices will be closed on October 10th because of Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day. But the transfer station will be open. Those are my announcements. Thank you. Minutes. To consider and act upon the minutes of the August 10th special meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Were there any errors, omissions, or corrections? If so, state page and paragraph.
I just have, I'm backtracking, I apologize. On the, I'm sorry, I'm organized. On the July 13th minutes, okay, approved minutes, we talked about the vote to approve establishing a new ordinance regarding the authorization to waive property taxes of $25 or less. Our discussion and our, what we said was $5. We agreed on $5 was going to be it. So then we come to the minutes of, I am apologizing, I'm just, chemo brain. I made the motion, and I did make the motion to,
Yeah, I see it. It's
do you
on the-
see? And it says still $25,
Yeah, it's in
and
the
I'm,
page two.
Page two,
Old
correct.
paragraph at the top,
Yep.
1, 2, the fourth line down.
fourth line down. And I find it very confusing.
Okay,
It's-
I listed it as I titled it.
Right, and I agree with that's what, but then I think with our discussion that we said $5, I think that should say 5 at that. Would that be, to me, it makes it clearer.
Okay.
It does, but I understand what Ann did
Right,
there.
right, exactly.
Because the proposal, as stated, the public, Vinnie's not here, but
Right.
the public hearing that we had was to waive property tax $20 or less. Our actual vote, we all agree, was $5 less.
Correct.
Can't we just put that underneath it? Just put, this was the motion, this was, how was it approved?
Because
Well,
the
it does say,
motion was just about the
motion made
minutes. It
by.
was just the minutes that we were approving
Right.
at that point.
Right, right.
Right.
If you go
so
back to the
I
minutes-
should
I
have-
got you, okay.
So perhaps my motion should have said
$5.
$5 in there.
Well,
Can we,
yes.
fine.
because I'm thinking down the road, someone picks this up and looks at
Yep.
it, they're gonna say,
Correct it.
so we can do that?
Got it.
That makes me much better, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other errors, omissions, corrections? If not, is there a motion? All in favor?
Aye. And one more thing before we leave that, I'm so sorry, I didn't turn the page fast enough. When you get back to the bid for the gym floor, and we did say that on the
Ann sent out an email on that.
pending, right, pending information on the warranty. And so again, we got that information, where can we put that down, that we've, received that information and it's acceptable? Or we just don't worry about
You
it?
can
We can-
make, you can
What-
ask that it
Did-
be.
did-
Why don't we make that, excuse me, why don't we make it just part of Jim's announcements tonight? And that
Okay,
way it becomes part of the minutes for tonight.
cool.
That it was
That-
determined, the warranty, et cetera. Ann will put in the appropriate
Okay,
wording.
thanks, I just thought.
Okay.
sorry, I had too much time on my hands. I went through it too closely.
Guys, you gotta understand, I sent a woman over to see Judy about a topic last Saturday morning. The lady says, I'm in a little bit of a hurry, she goes, but I'll meet with her shortly. Okay. 2 hours later, the lady came back to the farm to pick up her stuff. So, Judy,
It was not my fault.
item number 1 on the new business, to consider and act on request to approve bid recommendations
Smack
for the
'em.
22-23 tree removal. Mr. Brinton is in the audience. You see the prices on there?
Yes.
Do we have questions for Mr. Brinton?
Yes.
You'll have to
Wow.
come forward.
What a,
You know, I remember years
Yikes.
ago, when I think you were first selectman, you know, Harlan Denny and John Ciola used to duke it out, and the numbers used to run in the 30s for the tree removal. Over time, it's going the wrong way for these guys. I mean, the low bid is 14,900
yeah.
from a person who lives on Old Tavern Road.
And then all the way up to
And
81,000.
14,999 for a person who lives on Howelton. Yeah, the high one is a person also lives here in town. Yep.
It's like, yikes. Yikes. I just need to clarify this. This is for all those trees that were listed?
Yep.
Yes.
He's only charging $14,000?
Yes, Judy.
There were 2 low bids.
Or somebody, the two lower, wow. They're very kind.
The bid from Ron is the same as exact same dollar he bid last year. And Apollo, I guess, also knew that the bids would be low, so he got his lower too.
My only question, Bob, is the hourly rate that comes after that.
Yep.
What kicks that in? Because the one that you're not recommending has a lower hourly rate. So, I mean, in the long run, does that become a factor?
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I was recommending we do, we usually just award one contract, but kind of recommending we go with 2. We lucked out 2 years ago with the tropical storm Isaias that we ended up using 2 contractors. We needed 2 contractors, and I think it was because one was had the contract from the previous year, and one had just bid on it and got the contract. FEMA said, okay, they're both competitively bid, so we'll.
Okay.
But we kind of got lucky on that, so that's another reason.
So, in looking at your recommendation that does that gives the tree list to one vendor and then splits any additional trees by both of them, is the second vendor, though, willing to hold their hourly rate price without the base price?
I would assume so, because they're willing to do
Okay.
an unlimited amount of work.
Okay. Just want to make sure of that so we don't.
Last year, we did just under 23,000 in additional tree work. The year before that, it was about 12,500,
Right.
not including the tropical storm.
Next year, there's gonna be more because of the drought this year. You're gonna see trees declining all over.
Not disagreeing. So then the last question I have then on that same subject, looking just at the hourly rate, you've got 2 very low bidders as we talked about, but then for the hourly rate, you've got 2 other bidders that are lower just on the hourly rate. So if we're going to place a bid or place a contract based on hourly rate, will we not look back at one or both or all 4?
Well, I think that one was.
I looked at
think their
ARS.
residence was far away.
ARS is, their address is Florida, and I looked them up on the website. I'm surprised they bid on our job.
Far away.
But they do like electric line clearing, so they would do our list, but I don't know that if we call them for one tree around the corner, they're not gonna wanna
Okay.
come for that.
All right, and then back to my original question then on this then, just make sure that the second bidder is still willing to do this work without the main bid. And it's, make sure of that. I hope so.
Will do.
And it'd be great for them, but, you know, sometimes things are tied together and just make sure it wasn't a tie-in.
But given that the list work is so low, I think they'd be happier to get the hourly rate.
Probably.
Excuse me, Bob,
Yes,
a couple questions. How do you determine which trees to go?
I don't. Don Foyer put the list together.
Oh, okay.
You know, he has to go look at them and see if they're, dead is dead, any of us can tell that. Or sometimes they're diseased and dying, or,
The guys see them too,
Yeah.
also while they're out in trucks and stuff.
Does the UI still come and take trees down?
yeah, so we work with them
Oh, you work with
a
them?
lot.
Okay.
So if it's on the side of the road that has the power lines, usually they'll take them down. So we're really just taking care of the other side. We're still not running out of trees.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because
All right.
they take them down for nothing.
They don't charge us, right?
We pay for it in our
In your
bills.
electric
Well,
bill.
You pay for your bills.
I'll make a motion then that we
Yeah.
award the tree list for 22-23 to Palo Landscaping and Tree Removal LLC in the amount of $14,900. And then any additional trees removed during the year be awarded to both Palo Landscaping and Tree Removal LLC of Orange in the amount of $295 per hour. That's $295 per hour. And Arana
Yep.
Tree Removal of Orange in the amount of $225 per hour.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Staying unanimous.
Thank you.
While we're on trees, just so you know, we met with representatives of Eversource at this table this past week. They are already working in Woodbridge, and they're working their way towards Orange. They're the ones who maintain the power lines. They run through Orange from the West Haven line down off 34, all the way to the Milford side off Woodruff Road. They crosses Ridge Road and goes down to Woodruff Road and Milford. And they'll be starting in about 3 weeks, working in Orange on the power line. So anybody who asked, they have met, they have reached out to residents, knocked on doors, but they are getting ready to clean up their power line right away, which they have held since 1925. So, just so everybody knows. Okay, item number 2, to consider and act on request from the Orange Lions Club to waive the facility fee for the use of High Plains Community Center on Friday, November 4th for a military whist. George Lesko.
Batteries don't last forever.
I'm going to try a trivia question too. Patrick could do it, I can do it. We did the Pledge of Allegiance earlier. What organization was responsible for adding the words "under God" to the original Pledge of Allegiance? No, I probably should have done
Women's Suffrage
one with the
Society.
Lions. Knights of Columbus. I'm here to talk about 2 events that the Lions are sponsoring. The first one is a card party called Military Whist. The date will be Friday, November 4th, and it'll be from 6 o'clock to 7, where we would let people in and have some light refreshments, do some raffle, and then the card game would start. We're hoping for about 50 people. And initially, we think we could do it in the cafeteria. And the way this game would work is Judy would be my date. We would come in and be assigned to table 1. We would play a card game that's similar to spades, do about 5 or 6 hands at this table, and accumulate. Of course, we're going to win, Judy. And we accumulate points, and then the military part comes in. The master of ceremonies acts like a general. She will assign us to now a different table. So now we go from table 1 to table 16, and we play military whist again. It's a social event. We're hoping by the end of the day that you have met 50, 60 people and played cards with them. Well, yes, it's a unique event for us the first time, and Lawrence and I are responsible for it, and I think we'll have a good time. I'm asking you guys to approve it, and I work with Dennis on other events, and he said to me already that he would have enough card tables and chairs to help us with the event. Only charging $15 per person. And again, you know our charity, Susan, that was here earlier, the food pantry, Fidelco, et cetera, et cetera.
Any questions for George on this one? Is there a motion to be made?
So moved.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item number 3, don't go anywhere.
Not yet.
Item number 3, to consider and act on the request from the Lions Club to waive the customary rental and custodial fees for the annual Thanksgiving dinner scheduled for Sunday, November 27th, 2022 at High Plains Community Center. George Lesko representing the Orange Lions.
You know the Thanksgiving event. We've done it for a number of years. Again, military WIS as well. It's based on what's going to happen during the fall with COVID. It's possible, we may have to cancel them. But this time, we're asking again if we could use the gymnasium for our Thanksgiving event.
Any other discussion? Motion made. Second. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous.
I do have one more trivia question. Sorry. That weekend of the military WIS, what is happening on that weekend in terms of the nation? Something is changing. Time change is correct.
Ding, 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 ding.
to leave.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. It's supposed to be automatic. Thank you. You're great, Ann. Okay. I'm looking at this to see if there's anything. It doesn't say if they're doing chili or not this year. They didn't do chili because of COVID last. It doesn't say it here. Item number 4, to consider and act on the request to conduct the 25th annual Chili Run. Jane Opper is our race coordinator, has been for years. The letter does not say if they're doing chili or not. That was always my part of the deal, but at this point, I think they asked to waive the fees because they do use the inside of the building for registrations and all like that. And it's a great event that brings out a lot of people on New Year's Day. So with that set, is there a motion to be made for this
So
one?
moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Staying unanimous, thank you. Item number 5 is to consider and act on request to approve the Board of Selectmen's annual report. Ann had worked this up. I didn't know if there were any other errors, omissions, or corrections.
Oh,
Do you want to go first, Megan?
you go first, because you were so adept with the minutes. I was so impressed.
I was looking for my red pen at home, but I couldn't find it.
Okay.
No, only kidding. You did an awesome job. You really did. Reading through this, we did a lot. But my only suggestion is on the first major paragraph where it says of the town charter adding language to prohibit the smoking of tobacco products and the smoking and consumption of cannabis. So you have the of over there. So I would just suggest that you just scooch that in. And then, great, good job.
Second paragraph. We put in, this is, my understanding is this is the annual report from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022.
Right.
So therefore, in the second paragraph, the Falcon demonstration, the open farm day, and the 72 time capsule things being talked about haven't happened.
Want that for next year?
Want to say that for next year. So take that
Yeah.
part, because those things wouldn't happen during the,
That's what I was saying. I said, boy, that's very clever the way she's got.
I think the goat hike would be the last, right?
No, that was in July.
Was it in July also?
The parade of
Okay.
dinner and got- or the golf tournament.
I'd have to look at the dates again for everything.
Golf tournament was in June.
Yeah.
Yeah, the play was later.
Yeah, all the other stuff was July.
Okay. All right, with those changes that Ann will make, I'll make a motion then to approve the annual report, so it doesn't have to come back to us.
Second.
Okay. It's amazing when you look at this and think of all the things that are
Yeah.
coming along. I mean, I did think of the tree lighting holiday festival for that quilt close out of that raffle. I mean, I think that would be good, but whatever. But then I started to laugh about it. You will see at the fair in 2 weeks, David Eisenman brings his tractor to the fair every year, decorated and with a sign on it to remind people of the tractor
Beautiful, yep.
parade,
Yep.
which is always now with the holiday festival, which is always the first Sunday in December. So, I mean, I'm reading this and it's bringing things to mind that we have coming up, so let's not forget that. The Holiday Festival Tractor Parade is the first Sunday in December, and usually they arrive between 4:15 and 4:30 that they start rolling through.
Yeah.
Mr. Foyer and crew have a great time getting that all ready. Okay, so with those things, corrections made, motions made, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item number 6 is consider an act on request to waiver of medical benefits for 30 town employees. What this is these are employees who have chosen not to take the Town of Orange medical coverage as provided as full-time benefited employees, and instead they receive a $2,000 stipend for not doing that, and they receive that check once at the end of the calendar year, which is in December, and we have 30, how many? 30 some odd. It's
30.
amazing that there's
Yeah.
that many that do not take it, but it's okay. So with that made,
Motion.
is there a motion
Motion
to
to approve?
approve that? Thank you. Second?
Just want to, some of them are 2, some of them are 1,500, some of them are, you know,
It's prorated quarterly from when they started.
gotcha.
Over the calendar year,
I didn't know if
500
that
a
had to
quarter.
be,
So,
okay.
yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. To consider an act on the request to approve tax refunds totaling $2,477.41. We have
So
that.
moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. The only committee we have at this time to report is the pension committee, pension board.
Yes, the pension board met in August, and some significant things to talk about real quick is the, first of all, we did our deferred compensation review. That was by Scott Bolton, the fiducian, who's our advisor on that. And this is after our vote of this board to move the town's assets to Voya. That doesn't happen overnight. So what they're looking at right now is what they call a mapping of the funds that are currently offered to our employees with the new funds, and we looked at different scenarios, and we made a recommendation on how that would take place. That strategy is going to have to take a little bit of time, so we're probably looking towards the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year, before this actually takes full effect, and the employees are given plenty of notice and understanding and of what is happening by moving from Mutual of America and in some cases Mission Square over to Voya. So that was a good part of our meeting. Second part of our meeting had to do with the annual actuarial evaluation we get from Milliman, who's our actuary. And I'm pleased to report for the first time in a number of years we've got some really good news. The first part of it is, in the police pension, our funded ratio moved over the past year from 54.3% to 59.3%. It's up 5% in the 1 year. And next year's contribution is down approximately almost $50,000 from this year. It was $2,007,000 last year, and next year's budget. So this is the 23-24 budget. So the Board of Finance has plenty of time to plan. This is for once really good news. It'll be $1,969,000 into the police plan. On the town side, we do have 2 pension plans, one for the police and one for other employees. Our funded contribution went from 66.8% to 72.6%, about a 6% increase there. And once again, our funding contribution there went from 629,000 this current year is going down to 579,000 next year. So there's also a reduction there as well, significant. So it's good news to report. Pensions are doing well, and I think our employees overall will be very happy when we make that transfer over to Voya, because their costs, the town will have other costs that will be saving, but the real savings is for the employees themselves, and the fees that are embedded into their funding. So
Good.
that's the report of the pension board.
It saves about $100,000 for the budget that
Nice.
they have to put in next go-around, which is significant, which is a good thing. While you're on money too, residents out there's a lot of chitter chatter out there on the social media sites and all. Don't panic with people's bank if you can't get into all your
Right,
accounts and
right,
stuff.
right.
There's many people panicking because it just was transferred to M&T over the weekend. There's bound to be a few bumps in the road, but they assure us that they will get it straightened out. Remember, the town of Orange has millions of dollars housed with People's Bank. And we're just sitting comfortably watching as it goes. But don't panic if all of a sudden the first day that they say you can go in and check on your passwords that you can't get in. The money's still there. There might be some bugs to just straighten it out, but it'll be fine.
Jim, I went over and helped a neighbor out today, and when you open up the M&T website for the first time, right along the top, it's very small and it's easy to miss, and it says, if this is the first time you're logging in, go through this direction. So you have to tap onto that. Then you just run through and you sign on and you're in. So check that first.
Yeah, it's just that people get nervous, people panic, rightfully so. Some people need access, all the time for different things, and some stuff is done crazy. I heard of a person who was told, well, you better mail in your mortgage payment because with the transfer, there might be a problem. Lo and behold, the person checked their bank account. The bank did withdraw the money from their bank account. So they made 2 payments this month on their mortgage. But, I mean, so there are a few bumps in the road, but it will smooth out. I'm sure of that. People's, unfortunately, has been a fixture down the street since the post office left that spot. Judy, remember when it was a post office? I do. And then it became People's Bank, and it's been there, and the landlord says they got 3 years left on that lease, and they can renew if they wish, so there seems to be no problems there either. With that said, is there anything? Yes, Ralph?
Yes. Capital planning. We sent out letters this week to all the department heads and asked for their input back by November 10th. We put all the conditions in there and the things they should know, and hopefully we'll get them back on time. We did a good job last year. We got a good number of projects picked up by the Board of Finance and some other funding sources. So probably the best year we've had in the last 10 years in getting
Good.
projects in. Thank you.
There's a lot going on. Still a lot on you see the post road, they cleared that lot that used to be the trailer park for 100 years. And that's gonna become a medical building site there for an orthopedic group. That's a huge tax base plus, a new one for us. There's some other things possibly coming on, and Mitch attended the zoning last night about a possible cannabis store in town if zoning goes that route, and there's a lot more to it. At home, don't panic. Feel free to come and ask or call and ask to understand a little more about it. But that's on the radar, and there's some other improvements and new things coming along. the company that is buying the property at the exit ramp from, if you were coming from Milford off of 95, it would be on your right-hand side at exit 41. They are going before wetlands next week, starting their gas and convenience and I believe an EV showroom for cars, as well as part of this on that 4.5 acre site. So that's going to be a great reuse of that site for the town of Orange. That will be with the EV showroom. If they do pull it off, what they want with cars from different manufacturers will probably be the first one in the state, I believe. So that will be something else that people will be quite proud of. We've been approached by a user for a large parcel at the end of Salemi Lane, not the train station and all that adjoining it. So there's a lot going on. Aurora Products, the food company up on Edison Road, if you look there, they've maxed out their, or are maxing out their square footage of the usable at their building up there. They're building a huge addition on the front of that building, which will bring them to about almost 190,000 square feet of manufacturing on that 12-acre site up there. That's a huge plus for us. I remember when I went and knew they were looking, and they were based in Lordship, and got them here, and I worked to get them up here. And Miss Stephanie Blackwell, and she's not Blackwell anymore, has a new name. She's a dynamic individual and knows what she's doing, and that is really another huge plus for us there. So there's a lot of good going on. Yes, there is. Yeah, it's very exciting. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're done at, it looks like 8:04.